Welcome to Her Handmade Hustle Unplugged, a podcast for all women with a creative business who want to learn more about how to make money doing something they love. I'm Joanne Pearce, a female entrepreneur myself, 15 years experience running my own handmade stationery business, Vintage Twee. I'm an established seller on two of the biggest handmade marketplaces, so I've got a whole load of advice to share about how to start and run your own successful creative business. I'm also a wife and a mother, so I get the struggles of trying to do it all while you're raising a family. It's hard. Alongside running Vintage Twee, I'm also a mentor for other women like me who desperately want to work for themselves but just need that bit of support to get going and get their business dream off the ground. I'm a friendly northerner, I'm open and honest with a huge heart and a real fighting spirit, and I'm living proof that you can achieve anything that you set your mind to, even in the face of adversity. This podcast celebrates the selflessness, strength, and resilience of women in business. So if you're ready to ditch the 9 to 5 and learn how to start your own successful creative business, you're in the right place. Hello and welcome to the Her Handmade Hustle Unplugged podcast. Thank you for pressing play and choosing to listen to me today. So there must have been something in the title of this episode that made you think that you need to listen to this. It's a bold one, I know, but I think it's necessary. Have you ever had someone comment on your business, your pricing, your social media, or even your decision to just start at all and think, who the asked you? Now, I'm not going to swear on this episode because I know some of us have little people with big ears listening in the background, and I think my dad listens as well. But you can fill in the blanks, can't you? I've had a few unsolicited opinions during my time as a small business owner and generally in life, as we all have, I imagine. So I thought it would be a really good topic to talk about today because it can really knock your confidence, particularly if you're new to business or maybe you've been trying to psych yourself up to start something that you've been wanting to do for a very long time, but you're afraid, like you're holding back a bit. Are you wondering why it's taking you so long to decide on an idea, to launch a product, or even to just write a bloody social media post? I'll tell you why. I guarantee you that someone, somewhere, at some point in your life, has passed a comment, made a judgment, raised an eyebrow, or simply just shot you a look that's just made you feel like you shouldn't be doing what you're doing. And it's got your back up. Of course it has. It's not your confidence. It's shaking you a little. And this goes beyond work, doesn't it? Jesus, if you've got a mother-in-law, then you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. People like to give their opinions. So how do we handle this as a woman over 40? So when I was in my 20s, yeah, it would annoy me. Of course it would. But I didn't really dwell on it. I'd have a rant to my mum or my sister or my boyfriend at the time, and then I'd forget about it and I'd just get on with it. And I certainly didn't let someone's comment stop me from doing whatever it was that they had an opinion on. No way. So why is it that we feel so judged in our 40s and beyond? Why are we taking everything to heart that people say? Most of which are ill-informed and they're not qualified to even comment on what life choices we've made. We are finally coming into our own. Perhaps we're starting something new, we're being brave, we're taking some chances and we're doing something just for us. We've had a decent amount of life experience, so we should be feeling pretty confident in our ability to handle anything and anyone. So why are we holding back? Why are you feeling nervous and stressed about putting yourself out there? I'll tell you why. One word: judgment. We're scared of being judged by our family, our friends, even total strangers. And we're letting the opinions of all of these people stop us from making any progress with our business. Now, receiving criticism is always tough, isn't it? And it's always unwelcome. And it can throw us totally off course to the point where you can just go, do you know what? I'm not doing it anymore. Forget it. It was a stupid idea. Well, I'm here to tell you today that it's not a stupid idea and you can't and you won't just forget it. Okay? So today we are talking all about this concept of feeling judged, and we're going to explore why criticism seems to hurt more in your 40s for some reason, like this invisible impact of it, how it's affecting you and the subtle ways that it can just derail you. And most importantly, we're going to talk about what you can do about it so that you don't give up, so that you can go full steam ahead with your wonderful business idea, even if you've got shaky hands and you're susceptible to a lot of confidence wobbles. But by the end of this episode, you'll be feeling a little bit stronger about your ability to handle any unsolicited opinions and not let them stop you anymore. So what brought this episode on, I hear you cry? Well, there are a couple of things that have happened to me recently, which made me decide one Friday night, whilst I was sat there feeling sorry for myself that I couldn't order my usual sweet and sour chicken from the Chinese, thanks Slimming World, that I needed to talk about this because we're all feeling it. And especially running a business in today's day and age where strangers online, they're putting their two pennies worth in where it's not wanted, and they're knocking our confidence, these people that we don't even know. So a couple of weeks ago, I posted something in a local forum. I was asking for people just to point me in the direction of some shops that I could approach that might be interested in a particular product that I was trying to find a stockist for. Now, to be fair, most people were genuinely lovely and they gave me lots of helpful suggestions, which obviously I was very grateful for. But then there's always one, isn't there? That one person who sees your post and then feels this uncontrollable ability to pass a nasty or unhelpful comment, which often takes you by surprise and just makes you want to completely swear off Facebook forever and delete your whole account. Well, that's what I might have done 10 years ago. Not anymore. Oh no. Now I am very much more likely to say exactly what the title of this podcast episode says. Like, who asked you? Now, what got my back up even more was the fact that this person who commented said, "Oh, well, these look very nice. I've just got some constructive criticism for you, though." Constructive criticism. Eek, that's a loaded term, isn't it? Is there even such a thing as constructive criticism anymore, since everybody seems to feel like they're qualified to pass judgment on what you're doing? Or is the term constructive criticism really just an excuse to be an arsehole? Because I'm tempted to think it's the latter. I mean, in this case, there was absolutely nothing constructive about it. It was basically some person who was probably getting irritated about the fact that I was getting lots of nice comments and interaction and my posts kept popping up on their feed. And they decided just to try and piss in my pasty and offer their unsolicited opinions. And you know what? They were pretty brutal. They were attacking the nature of the product, my intentions, even the bloody name of it. I mean, what is wrong with people? There was absolutely nothing constructive about these comments. They were just purely looking for an argument, which I wasn't going to give them. But I am a woman in my 40s. I also wasn't going to just ignore it and go and hide away in a corner, never checking my Facebook notifications ever again. No way. So how did I respond? Well, first of all, I took 5 minutes to calm down, which I highly recommend. Make a brew, not act on impulse. And then I calmly acknowledged the comment, first of all with a thumbs up emoji, which my husband says is the ultimate insult and the best way to dismiss someone. Like, it's not even worthy of a reply, just a giant thumbs up. He does it all the time to people who piss him off. He just doesn't care. Just give him the thumbs up. So I thought, right, I'm going to be like Dave, and I'll start with that. Well, then I replied to the comment by this person, and I simply said, "Thanks for your feedback, but who the asked you?" No, I didn't say that, but I did say, "Thanks for your feedback. If you'd have read the post that I'd written, you would see it clearly answers all your questions. And I wouldn't dream of naming your firstborn child, so please don't try to name my client's business." Honestly, I did say that. Needless to say, she didn't reply to that one. See, get me on board. I've always got you back. But we can't let these people, especially strangers online who get off on knocking people down from behind the safety of their screen, affect our confidence. And for some reason, we are. We're caring far too much about what other people think. How did that person make me feel in that moment when I read their comments? Self-doubting? Annoyed? Embarrassed? Maybe a little of all three of them, yeah. But did I second guess myself and think, oh, I shouldn't have put that post on? Why did I do it? Ah, God, no, I'm never posting in a forum again. Did I hell? 99% of people were lovely, and I got some really helpful suggestions. And I'm not going to let one douchebag, as Eden, my 5-year-old, calls him, I prefer keyboard warrior, ruin it for me. I'm not going to do it. In the past, it might have stopped me from doing it again. It might have ruined the excitement for me or made me think that I wasn't strong enough to be able to do this and deal with the opinions of the general public or anyone else. But not anymore. This isn't just about me, though. I have seen so many women pause or shrink after one flippant comment, usually from someone who they don't even know or doesn't have a bloody clue what they're talking about because they've never done it. And I know it hurts, and I know we all take it personal, but this is what I think. Unless that person knows me inside and out and is qualified to offer this constructive criticism, and then it is constructive because they have my best interests at heart, then ignore them. And that's the difference, isn't it? Knowing that the person who's offering the advice means well, like they want to see you succeed. They aren't trying to destroy your confidence because of their own insecurities. So I can count on one hand the people who I will take genuine constructive criticism off. Everyone else can just keep their opinions to themselves. So try and think about this when you're feeling despondent from someone's off-the-cuff comment, right? Number one, ask yourself, do they know and respect me? Number two, do you know and respect them? Because if the answer to any of these questions is no, then they fall into the category of people who you can confidently say, who the asked you to, okay? Now, I briefly mentioned the word hurt there when I was talking about how it feels when someone criticises you or your business. And it's okay to feel like that. Even as a woman in your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, beyond, no one likes to feel like people don't approve of something they're doing or they don't like it. And I think we need to normalise this feeling of being hurt because criticism does hit differently after you're 40. And I'll tell you why I think this is. It's weird because ultimately we should be better equipped to handle it. Like we've had lots of life experience, we've developed a thicker skin, we've become more resilient, we feel more comfortable in our bodies, but at the same time, we're so much more vulnerable. We've lived enough life to know ourselves, but we're also re-emerging or we're pivoting at this age. And this is the time when a lot of us stand up and say, actually, I'm not happy. I'm not going to live the rest of my life settling for second best or ignoring what I want anymore. You're ready to reinvest in you. You might have spent the last 20 years parenting or caregiving or being bogged down by other responsibilities. And now you have finally taken the step to do something for you. And it's bloody scary. Like you feel exposed and vulnerable. And actually, you're not even sure if you're capable because it's all new and it's a new version of yourself that you're not used to yet. I think in our 40s, we often feel the pressure to have it all figured out, don't we? But actually, it's only since I've hit my 40s that I've realised that I've got absolutely nothing figured out. And now is the time I'm doing it. And then when we get criticised, it can feel like a confirmation that you're behind or you're off course or something. Like say you're starting a business later in life. You might be worried about people, thinking, oh, what the hell's she doing? Is she having a midlife crisis? Or she's got too much time on her hands now that the kids have left home or she's retired. Well, you're not behind or off course. You're just entering your new era, the time where you're done being there for everyone else all the time, where you've put every person's need before your own, the time where you're finding yourself again. And it's undoubtedly very, very different to the person that it was 20 years ago. And you know what? I don't care what anyone says, but I think gender definitely plays a role in all of this. Women, I think, are often socialised to people please. We're told from a young age to be nice, to be accommodating, to keep peace. And we're taught, often subtly, that our value lies in being liked, being agreeable, being helpful. So when someone criticises us, even if it's about something we've created or shared in our business, it just feels so personal. It's not just, oh, they didn't like that product. It's, they didn't like me. And that really hits a nerve because you've spent decades trying to be the peacemaker and make everyone else feel comfortable. So being on the receiving end of someone's judgment, especially if it's harsh or it's unsolicited, it can feel like you've failed at being good or kind or enough. But you know what? The truth is, running a business, especially as a woman in midlife, means you're often doing something bold and totally new. And not everyone will get it. You're here to be yourself. Yeah, you're not too sensitive. You're not too late. You're doing something brave, and brave will always, always attract opinions. We might be 40 plus, but we really do feel judged more than ever in everything we do, from our parenting skills to our food choices. Someone will always have an opinion. Talking of judgment and parenting, this is going to make you laugh. So the other night, Eden was in bed and she woke up crying, right? Nothing new there. And she'd only been asleep like for an hour or so. So I was pretty knocked off because I just sat down to watch the new season of The Bear. And believe me, I am not a fan of anyone interrupting that. Anyway, I get upstairs and I find her absolutely devastated, the poor thing, because she basically had an upset stomach and she'd messed the bed. Now, she's going to kill me if she ever listens to this episode, and she's older, isn't she? Now, she's never done this before, so she was absolutely horrified, as was I. Anyway, I stripped the bed, I scooped her up, put her in the shower, washed her down, and then I took her back into the room to put a fresh nightie on and some fresh bedding. So as I was putting the fitted sheet on, leaning over, grunting and groaning because you know what it's like trying to put on a bloody fitted sheet, just keep pinging off. And I was sweating. It was that night recently where we had a heat wave and it was just so ridiculously hot. Anyway, she was just stood next to me, observing, staring at me, the usual. And all of a sudden, she just pipes up, "Mummy, you've got a really big bum." To which point, I really wanted to shout out, "Hang on a minute, love. I'm not the one who's just shit the bed, so you're in no position to judge me." But obviously didn't say that. Instead, I thought about what I said before. Does this person know and respect me? Do I know and respect them? I mean, the jury's out on whether she actually respects me. But instead of taking it personally and going all sulky or snappy, I just replied, "Well, thank you, darling, for that. Mummy does have a lovely large bottom and I'm glad you noticed." There's body positivity right there for you. Inside, I was thinking, you cheeky little sod. But criticism cuts deep, doesn't it? And I want to talk about the invisible impact that criticism has on us. And it's one of those silent but deadly things that we don't always notice happening because it just kind of creeps in, doesn't it? It's like a build-up of critical words or comments or disapproving looks. And it just slowly chips away at your self-confidence. And before you know it, you're sat there wondering if you're doing the right thing. So how do you know if criticism or fear is affecting your progress? Well, for a start, you will be procrastinating. Yep, you will be deliberating far too long on things. You're not making any decisions and you're purposefully getting sidetracked by other stuff which ends up taking priority. And then you just end up shelving your business idea for a little while longer. I've done it. Instead of doing the thing that I should be doing, I'm on Google doing everything but that. I'm looking up if I've made the Entrepreneur podcast charts this week. I'm searching out whether or not there's going to be another season of Ginny and Georgia. Bloody hell, I even Googled how likely it is that the government will make the summer holidays shorter the other day. I know, right? Anything to avoid doing the task at hand. Or you might find that you self-sabotage a lot, trying to ruin it for yourself before someone else comes in and does it for you. And this could look like convincing yourself that your idea is crap, that it will never work, that everyone else is doing it, so why should you bother? Oh, come on, stop it. Right? You're trying to put a spanner in the works so that you don't leave yourself open for someone to judge you or make a negative remark about what you're doing. Like you've beat them to it. Hiding. Hiding what you're doing or who you're doing it for. That's another sign. You don't want to put your work out there in case someone judges it or you. So you just don't do it. You expect to be able to have a business with minimal online presence or interaction with anyone. You can sit at your desk or on your computer making your beautiful creations, but then it comes to getting them out there, either physically or online, and you just run for the hills. You say to yourself, "Oh, I'm happy just beavering away in my office. I'm making the stuff that makes me happy, and hopefully people will come to me and they'll be banging down my door to buy it." Well, no, that's not going to happen. Otherwise, it will be easy. And I'm not having it when people say that they've tried for 6 months and nothing's happened. So what's the point? Well, honestly, if your business takes off and you're actually making a profit in 6 months, then you're doing much better than most of us. It generally takes 18 months to 2 years maybe before you notice any significant profit in your business. But most people jump ship way before then, thinking that if it hasn't happened within a few months, then it must be a really shit business idea. I actually tend to find that a lot of my clients come to me at this point because the honeymoon period is over, they've run out of energy and enthusiasm and money, having ploughed it all into their business, to get it off the ground, and then nothing happens, it goes quiet. And everyone who was initially interested in what it was you were doing has disappeared. Like, you've sold what you can to your neighbours and your family and your friends and the school mums, and now you need to actually get out there and do some work. But you're tired and you feel like you've done enough to launch this business. I need a rest. It should be plain sailing from here. People should be coming to me. Well, no, this is actually the time when you've got to push harder. You've got to break through that barrier of no sales, no interest, no opportunities, no money, and push even harder. It's a bit like childbirth, right? That point when you feel you can't push anymore, that your body is exhausted, your mind is, you're wishing that you could just suck this little bugger back up there because you don't have an ounce of energy left in you to get it out. And so many women at this point say, I can't do it. And then that bossy midwife swoops in, the one who's got your baby's life in her hands. And she just grabs hold of you and shouts, yes, you can do it. You have to do it. Because one more push and it's out. You've done it and there's no going back. It's the point when you realise, thank God you stuck it out. Because now you've got this beautiful thing that's come into your life and it's ready to wreak havoc on it. Are we talking about the baby or the business now? I think they're one and the same, aren't they? But this is the very reason why you can't hide away. Your future is depending on you. And if you don't break past that barrier that makes you want to quit, then you'll never know the joy that having your own business can bring you. That was a good analogy, wasn't it? I'm impressed that I came up with that one. So don't let criticism or judgment derail you. Don't let it put you off launching something new or different. Don't take forever writing that social media post. Don't shrink your prices or stop promoting your work because you're afraid of what people might say about it all. Just do it. Because criticism, it's got a really nasty sting in its tail. And it doesn't just hurt, it paralyzes you. And it's not always the words that just sting, is it? It's what they stop you from doing next. And we can't have that. Okay, so what can we do about it? How do we keep going when other people's opinions are making you question everything? Especially if you're a sensitive soul, which, many of us creatives are. Here's the thing, okay? You're probably not going to avoid criticism altogether. You'd be very, very lucky if you got through business unscathed. If you're building something, if you're putting your ideas out there, if you're charging for your work and showing up online, someone, somewhere, will always have an opinion. Yeah, it's inevitable. And often, they're going to share it with you, even when you didn't ask. Even when they've never run a business, never walked in your shoes, and certainly never had the courage to do what you're doing. So instead of trying to build a life or a business that no one can criticise, which is obviously impossible, what if you focused on strengthening how you hold yourself through it instead? So I'm going to share with you a few things that have helped me, and hopefully they will help you too. So first of all, create a filter, right? I'm not talking an Instagram filter here, okay? What I'm saying is not all feedback deserves space in your brain. One of the best questions that you can actually ask yourself when you receive this criticism is this coming from someone who's in the arena or someone who's in the cheap seats at the back, right? Which is basically what I was saying before. If the person giving you their opinion isn't someone you trust or respect or who's actually done the kind of work that you're doing, then honestly, just thank them in your head and move on. Not every comment deserves a reaction. It's like picking your battles with a child, isn't it? I actually had one the other day from someone. So I was calling in somewhere to pick something up. Being very elusive here, aren't I? Just hoping they don't listen to this. But if they do, hey ho, you're out of line. So I have got nothing to feel guilty about. Anyway, they were asking me if I was busy with work. And I was happened to make a flippant comment along the lines of, oh, yeah, I've got so much to do. I'm slightly panicking now because the schools break up soon. I don't know how the hell I'm going to manage 6 whole weeks juggling my business and my 5-year-old, right? Something that I'm guessing a lot of parents with young children are feeling right now too. So it wasn't anything out of the ordinary. Anyway, this particular person, they looked me right in the eye and they said, remember, your child is only young once. Get your priorities straight. Woohoo! Well, you can imagine how that went down. I took a deep breath. I looked at this person right back in the eyes and I said very clearly, my priorities are perfectly straight. Thank you very much. And I walked out. Now, as mad as I felt, I used the walk home to ask myself, do I trust and respect this person? Not really. Do I care that they think I'm a workaholic who has a child hooked up to YouTube for 12 hours a day, chucking unhealthy snacks across the room while I'm on important business calls? I mean, it might happen yet, I'm not going to lie. But no, do I hell? The fact that they made this comment in the first place shows that they don't know me at all. Because this couldn't be further from the truth. I have been working all hours under the sun the past few weeks to get ready for these 6 weeks of pretend play and park visits and sweaty soft play centres and play dates with other parents who I tolerate so my child can see her friends and meltdowns and cuddles and endless snack runs and arse wiping. She had no clue about me and my life. So why the hell would I even take her opinion on board? Now, to flip the coin, if my sister, for example, says to me over the summer, how's it going? Are you managing? Maybe you could stick the telly on for an hour in between doing all the above so you can get some emails done. Then I would 1,000,000% listen and take her comments on board. She knows me better than anyone. I trust her. I respect her. She trusts me and respects me. She's not judging me because she knows me. So think about the filter the next time a person passes comment on something you're doing. Do you allow it through to your brain or do you send it to the reject bin? I know where I would have liked to have shoved that particular person's comment, let me tell you. So the second thing you can do to help you bounce back from the inevitable criticism that you are open to when you work for yourself is to build a confidence bank. Now, when I first heard of this, I thought it sounded a bit shit, right? But actually, it's not a bad idea. Because criticism sticks, doesn't it? We always remember the negative stuff more than a positive. It's like when you go to book a hotel and you look on TripAdvisor and it's got like, say, 1,000 5-star reviews and 2 1-star reviews. What do? You look at it and you go, oh God, I better not book that place. It's having negative reviews. Like it's an unrealistic representation, isn't it? But encouragement can also stick if you let it. So here's what you can do. Create a folder on your phone, in your email, in a notebook, wherever is easier, and start saving every kind comment, every glowing review, heartfelt message, or a personal win as and when it happens. So in my confidence folder, which I've got on the Notepad app on my phone, I've got a list of everything that I've achieved for my clients in the last 6 months. Their website appearing on page 1 of Google now, more sales, more bookings, press coverage. I'm proud of it. And I need it on those days when nobody comes to me and I haven't got any bookings or I'm quiet, because those days when you're feeling negative or your confidence is wobbling and you've got no sales, you'll have proof to come back to. And not of the knobhead who doubted you, but the people who believed in you. It's not cliche, it's necessary and it works. It's like your receipt file almost, for the days when you forget what you're capable of. The third thing that you can do to help handle any criticism that comes your way when you run a business is this. Decide what you're available for. What do I mean by that? Okay. Well, imagine you're part of a WhatsApp group. Let's say a school one. Ugh, we all dread those, don't we? Right? You're getting 20 plus messages an hour about whether anyone has seen Teddy's navy jumper or if someone has come home with the wrong water bottle, or even worse, and this one has happened in a group I was in, informing everyone about their child's bowel movements, demanding a series of emojis every time their kid has a poo, honestly. So what do you do to protect yourself from this drivel? You hit the mute button. You do not have to be open to every opinion. You do not have to explain yourself to people who don't get you. You're allowed to protect your energy. And this might mean muting people who drain you outside of WhatsApp. It might mean creating stronger boundaries with family and friends. Like, thanks, but I'm sorted. I know what I'm doing. Smile and carry on. Boundaries aren't rude. They're respectful to both them and you. And once you put them in place, I guarantee you that people won't overstep again. The fourth thing that you can do to help bat off this unsolicited advice is to get comfortable being misunderstood. And this one is really hard to do, but it is powerful. So when you're doing something that doesn't follow the usual path, so you're starting a business later in life, you're doing it your way, maybe you're making it look quieter or more values-led, not everyone will get it. Yeah, they might question it, they might minimize it, but that doesn't mean you're wrong. Let them misunderstand you. Let them project their own limitations onto you. You don't need to stop to explain your journey to someone who's not even on the same road as you. And this is where hanging out with other small business owners and people who've been there before will be your saviour. Seek them out, talk to them, connect with them online. Just pop a nice comment on their posts and be sociable. Because not only will it be good for your confidence to surround yourself with these people who understand, it's also really good for your business. And finally, remember that criticism can be a sign that you're actually doing it. Yeah, you're growing, you're getting seen, you're out there. Think of it this way: if no one's commenting, it might be because you're not doing anything risky. So, in a weird way, that feedback, even the clumsy, rude, or misplaced kind, is often a signal that you are visible. You're making the moves now, you're taking up space, and that's not something to shrink away from. That is something to be bloody proud of. Yeah, you're not too sensitive, you're a human being with a heart, and you're doing something courageous. So, give yourself some credit for that. So if you're listening to this and thinking, yeah, this is me, then let me just say this, okay? You're not overreacting, you're not too late, and you're not imagining it. It is harder to hear criticism when you've finally decided to back yourself and do something brave. Because building a business and putting yourself out there and trying something new, especially in your 40s, especially as a woman, is no small feat. It takes guts. It takes heart. And it takes more energy than most people realise. So when someone throws a flippant comment your way, or questions what you're doing, or says something that cuts a little deeper than they probably intended, it's okay if it knocks you for a moment. Yeah, that doesn't mean you're weak. It just means you care. And I want to leave you with this thought, all right? It's something that I've had to learn and relearn myself. But you are never, ever responsible for the way someone else feels. That's on them. And this applies to business and everything else in life. If you are a decent human being with good intentions, yet someone is trying to paint a different picture of you and whatever it is you're doing, then that's their problem. Their discomfort is not a reason for you to shrink away, or worse, stop. You don't need to soften your dreams so someone else feels more comfortable. You don't need to explain every choice you make. You don't need to wait for approval. And this applies not just to strangers, but to our partners, our family, our friends as well. Families can be the worst, can't they, for giving opinions and judging? Especially if you don't get on. They're always quick to pull you down, waiting for your next big mistake. And the reality is, they need to get over it. And you need to keep going. Even if it's quietly, even if it's slowly, even if it's with shaky hands. Just keep your blinkers on, keep focused on the end goal, and believe in the thing that you're building. If this episode hit a nerve, and if you've ever been on the receiving end of an unasked for opinion, a sideways comment, or someone making you question whatever it is you're doing, then tell me. Honestly, I would love to hear. Send me a message or an email and tell me your story. You're not alone, and I know how good it can feel just to say, yep, that's happened to me too. And if you know someone, maybe another small business owner, a friend in midlife who's just starting something new, or someone whose confidence might be low and they are at risk of just not doing that thing at all, then please pass this episode on to them. Forward it, share it, pop it in their inbox with a thought of you message. Because this kind of stuff sticks, and hearing that they're not the only one can actually make a real difference. If you're a paid subscriber, thank you, by the way. There'll be something extra for you dropping into your inbox next week. And if you want to chat or you need any help with your small business, please do get in touch. The details are all on my website. I do have some availability left for one-to-one work in August. So if you can't wait until the summer holidays, get on it and message me to grab one of these sessions, because I've only got a few available with it being the school holidays. And thank you for listening. Take what you need from this episode. I hope it's helped you in some way and just given you a little boost that you might have needed before we head into the summer holidays. So the podcast schedule will be a little different over the summer. So keep an eye on my socials or subscribe to my Substack to find out how the episodes will be looking during this time. I do have some good ones lined up though. I am not leaving you with nothing, I promise. Thank you once again, and see you next time on the Her Handmade Hustle Unplugged podcast.